Welcome back, children. Let us continue with the line-wise paraphrasing of Act 5, Scene 1, beginning from line number 225, beginning with Prospero's speech. There, sir, stop. He says that, sir, I request you to stop talking like that any more. Let us not burden our remembrance with the heaviness that is gone. So he says, let us not burden ourselves with the memories of our past sorrows, a past that is dead and gone. Gonzalo, I have inly wept, he said. I have been weeping inwardly, or should have spoke this. Otherwise, I should have said something earlier. Look down, you gods, and on this couple drop a blessed crown. So he prays to the gods above and he says that, O you gods, look below at this young couple and bless them with a crown. For it is you that have chalked forth the way which brought us hither. So he says that because it is you who has marked out the route by which we all have arrived on this island. It is through you we have reached here. Alonso, I say Amen, Gonzalo. So, and King Alonso says, I say, be it so, Gonzalo. Gonzalo, was Milan thrust from Milan that his issue should become king of Naples? He says that was the Duke expelled from Milan? Was he expelled so that his children should possess the throne of Naples? Oh, rejoice beyond a common joy and set it down with gold on lasting pillars. He says, oh, let us be happy beyond the limits of an ordinary joy. Let the following facts be engraved in letters of gold upon solid marble pillars. In one voyage did Claribel her husband find at Tunis. He says that we were able to marry off Claribel to the Prince of Tunis. And Ferdinand her brother found a wife where he himself was lost. And we found a wife for Claribel's brother, that is Ferdinand, on the same island where he was supposed to be lost himself. Prospero his dukedom, and Prospero got his dukedom of Milan back on the same island, in a poor isle, that is on the same poor island. And all of us ourselves when no man was his own. And that is, and all these events took place over here, and we all recovered our sanity, which all of us had lost. When no man was his own, that is, all this took place in the course of this one single voyage. On one single voyage, in one single undertaking, all this has happened. Alonso to Ferdinand and Miranda. Give me your hands, he says, please let me hold your hands. Let grief and sorrow still embrace his heart that doth not wish you joy. He says, let grief and sorrow still afflict the hearts of those who do not offer you their best wishes for a happy married life. Gonzalo, be it so, Amen. He says, let it be so, Amen. Re-enter Ariel with the master and bosun amazedly following. So Gonzalo continues talking to them. Oh, look, sir, look, sir. He says, sir, look here. Here is some more of us. He says, there are some more members of our party. I prophesied. He said, I told you in the very beginning, I foretold you, if a gallows were on land, this fellow could not drown. He said, I had sworn before that this man, that is the bosun, would not die by drowning. He does not have the drowning mark upon him. He is going to die by being hanged at the gallows. Now blasphemy. Now blasphemy over here means an act of cursing God. Here it is referred to bosun because he is in the habit of taking a lot of oaths. So he is being referred to bosun. That swearest grace overboard, not an oath on shore. So he says that you Foul-mouthed fellow, you drove all divine mercies overboard by your oaths. Not an oath on shore, but you are not swearing at all on land. Hast thou no mouth by land? What is the news? He says, are you afraid to open your lips on land? Have you brought any news for us? Bosun, the best news is that we have safely found our king and company. So Bosun begins that the best news that we have got is that we have found our king and other passengers safe and sound. The next good news is our ship, which but 3 glasses since we gave out split, is tight and yare and bravely rigged as when we first put out to sea. He says that the next best news is about our ship, that our ship, which only 3 glasses since means which only 3 hours ago we gave out split, that is we gave up as having been destroyed and smashed into pieces, is tight, that is it's totally watertight, and yare and bravely rigged as when we first put out to sea, and it is excellently fitted with the ropes and ready, just as she was when we originally started our voyage. Ariel, aside to Prospero, so he speaks to Prospero, sir, all this service have I done since I went. So he speaks softly to Prospero and says that, sir, I am responsible for having done all this since I left you a little while ago. Prospero, aside to Ariel. So he also answers him very softly, my tricksy spirit. So he says, indeed, you are my spirit, full of all kinds of clever devices, very tricksy. Alonso, these are not natural events. So Alonso is quite shocked with what all he is seeing. He says that these incidents these are not natural incidents. They are not humanly possible. They strengthen from strange to stranger. He says that every fresh incident we hear of is stranger than the previous one. Say, how came you hither? So he is asking Bosun that, tell me, by what means have you managed to find us? How did you come here? Bosun, if I did think, sir, I were well awake, I would strive to tell you. He says that, sir, if I were sure that I am fully awake and I am not dreaming, I would certainly try to explain everything to you. We were dead of sleep, and how we know not, all clapped under hatches. He says the reality is that all of us were fast asleep as if we all were dead. And how we know not, he says, nor do we know how we were clapped under hatches, that is how we got imprisoned below the deck of the ship, where but even now, he says, from there under the deck of the ship just a little while ago, with strange and several noises, we were awakened from our death-like slumber by strange kinds of noises like roaring, shrieking, howling, jingling chains, and more diversity of sounds, all horrible. He says we were awakened from our sleep by roaring sound, by screaming and shouting, and the loud sound of the jingling of the chains, and many other sounds which were all horrifying, horrible to hear. We were awaked. We all were woken up. Straight away at liberty. Straight away we found ourselves as free men, where we in all her trim freshly beheld our royal, good and gallant ship. And there we saw our excellent, nice and splendid ship, perfectly fitted with ropes. Ropes, our master capering to her, to eye her on a trice so please you. And we also saw that our master was jumping with joy on seeing her in that condition. And then suddenly, if it pleases you. Thank you. I will continue in the next video. Thank you.